Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Another one that's really kind of on topic at the moment is so learning to drive during lockdown. Should I be doing it? Can I still do it? Can my driving instructor still work? And what should I do if I've started learning to drive but now I can't do it anymore? First probably question we need to ask ourselves is, why has lockdown stopped me learning to drive? So there's two things. We're going to create lots and lots and lots of non-essential journeys learning to drive during lockdown. When you're out on your driving lessons, if you've been out with an instructor, you'll notice that when you're learning something, you repeat it and you repeat it and you repeat. You're not going anywhere. Usually just going around, but sometimes, very often, maybe you just go around in circles. If we go around to do specific things, you're not going anywhere with a purpose other than to practice driving. Now, we don't want to be out there on the roads putting more issues. Potentially, you think about the safety aspect of if you're out learning to drive and you have an accident, we're putting more strain on an already stressed NHS and emergency services that don't need to be dealing with that. So we should probably we shouldn't be out there. We don't need to be out there. The second thing is, you think in this car there's not a lot of space. It's not possible to keep your social distancing. Your driving instructor has probably got somewhere from, depending on how much they work, 15 to 25, 30 pupils, maybe 40 pupils in and out the car all of the time. They can't keep their distance from you, which means they can't keep their distance from all the other students. And then you've got all these other people touching the steering wheel, touching the gear lever and the door. And it's not that it's not impossible to keep things clean and disinfected, but it's another risk. We've all heard about people being ill without knowing it and not having any symptoms and being ill. It's not a risk that anybody should be taking. So unfortunately, that's why driving lessons have had to stop. So should I be going out with my mum, dad, or whoever it is that I'm learning to drive with? Should they be taking me out on a driving lesson? The short answer to that would really be no. You think, again, you go back to that non-essential journey. You shouldn't just be out and about driving around. Especially in a car that doesn't have dual controls like a driving instructor's car would. You're at an increased risk of, like we said, of potentially having an accident, which then strains and already puts more extra stress on an already strained service. So we don't really want to be doing that. Next thing is, I'd say it's a perfect time for you to be practicing your theory. Get your theory practice. If you've not practiced on your or passed your theory test yet, get on it. Get on your practice. Get on the apps that you've got or the websites that you've been given access to. So all of my students get access to a website called Theory Test Pro, and lots and lots and lots and lots of driving instructors use that. Use it. Get yourself ready. They're not conducting theory tests at the minute. They're not conducting practical tests at the minute. But do that. Get ready to be able to take it. So as soon as the ability for you to be able to book a test comes up, or a theory test comes up, you know, right, I'm ready to go. I'm going to get that booked. I'm going to get that done as soon as I can. It's one of the first things you want to be doing when you start learning to drive. Start learning to drive and then get on your theory whilst alongside it. It'll help you all the time when you're learning. But you want to have that done. It can really hold you up if you've not got it done. And this is the perfect time. I'd say even if you've passed your theory test, you want to just keep yourself refreshed. You don't want to get back in the car and then have forgotten what all the road signs mean, or not remember that you can't do such and such, or you can't park there, you need to stay away from these sort of lines. Just do something, keep yourself fresh, keep going over it. Watch other YouTube videos of people doing driving lessons and mock driving tests. Keep yourself fresh if you can't get out in the car. With private practice, as you'd normally do, so learning to drive in the car with your mum or your dad or whoever your supervising driver is. If you were driving to work as a key worker, or you were going to do that journey anyway, maybe you maybe want to, you could use that. I'm not saying wholeheartedly that it's the right thing to do. It's something you need to decide. Look at all the advice that's out there. I'd probably say you might be practicing learning to drive, but you're still not going to be able to get a test until they reopen their bookings. And even if you are ready, it's going to be a little while until that happens anyway. Like the next test that people have got that have had them moved. So some people had their tests cancelled. There should be tests going on now. There should be a test happening right now today. But there's not, because of this lockdown. All those people have had their tests moved. So they've gone into, the first ones are in sort of July, maybe some late June, July and August time now. So you're going to be waiting, even if lockdown's lifted tomorrow and everything was to go back to normal as from tomorrow. There's all those people already still in front of you, so you're going to be waiting some time. So are you going to be gaining anything that you're going to, is it going to benefit you hugely? Is it going to help you get a driving test quicker? It's probably not going to help you get your driving license any quicker, because you're not going to be able to get to a test. So do you really need to do it? Is it the safest thing to do? Do we want to have that risk that no one can help you out if you were to make a mistake? I think it's probably best just to leave it. So what about if you're a key worker? Can you still continue to learn to drive? So yes, you can. There are still tests available. So you can still book a theory test if you're a key worker. And you can still book a theory test. You can still try and book a practical test. They're assessing each test on a case-by-case basis. And the driving examiners are being asked if they want to volunteer to do some. They have to say, yes, I'm willing to do the tests. So that may mean you might be a key worker, you might be ready for testing, you might have your theory, but if there's not a person in your area that's willing to do the test, you might have to either A, go to a different area that you don't know, or B, you may not be able to do it at all. You might have to wait anyway. So you can still take your lessons if you've got a test booked. I wouldn't, even if you're a key worker, you shouldn't be taking lessons if you've not got a test, because it's an unnecessary journey, and everybody's jobs, and you being a key worker, being on the front line there, you'll know what it's like. You know what the pressures are like at the minute. You don't want to be potentially causing any extra grief on top of that. Then probably the last thing I would say about this is, once your lessons restart, you may have been really close to test. So sorry, the camera ran out, battery ran out. I had to pop indoors a little bit and get it charged back up. The last thing I would say as well is, don't be surprised if you've been doing driving lessons for a little while and you were out and about and you're getting really close to test standard. Maybe you had a test booked and you're about to take your test. Don't be surprised if after 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, however long it could be, 12 weeks, if things aren't going the way they were when you left off. Things could have changed considerably. You might not remember everything as well as you think you do, and your ability might have dropped a little bit. Generally, it won't take long to come back, but just be prepared for maybe your first lesson not to be the best one in the world. So don't expect, and don't be surprised rather, that things might not go as smoothly as you might hope to start with. So that today just about wraps that one up. Again, any thoughts you've got, drop them in the comments and I'll answer them. What your thoughts are on the learning to drive in lockdown. Obviously, this is all my opinion and my thoughts on the situation and my interpretation of what's going on at the moment. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from any of those of you that have got any points you'd like to make. Don't forget, give the video a like, subscribe as well. We'll get more content, as much content out as I can. Obviously at the minute it's a bit difficult. I can't get any lesson content out at the minute, but we'll try and get some stuff out as soon as I get back to work. And as things start to go back to normal, I'll record more and more. There is more to come. So I'll see you all again soon, and stay safe out there.